Hey everybody, I know I'm running a little late, so sorry about that. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to cook our black-eyed peas for good luck. And remember, I have been basically begging you, if you're in a place where you can get black-eyed peas, canned black-eyed peas are great, just make sure they're vegan. Dried ones like we're going to use are going to be great. And in fact, I'm going to rinse them probably before I put them in here. Although, I gotta say, Rancho Gordo beans are usually pretty clean. So look, these are super lucky beans for 2021 even. So you've got to be there with me. And let's see. Aha, I see some people are here. No one's commented yet, but I'm looking forward to knowing how you're doing. Hey, Deborah Chan. Happy New Year's Eve. So, what I've got here is some water, and actually I'm going to be probably wandering around more than usual today because we literally just got home like 14 minutes ago. Chopped an onion and we've just been going at it. We picked up some stuff for New Year's and I'm going to cook some of my New Year's meal today for tomorrow. We're actually going to be spending it with our friends Mia and Howard, who we're potted with, so it'll be very delightful. And hi, Cynthia, Happy New Year to you as well. So, in Maryland, so I have a little water in here heating. So this recipe, you guys, I put links to the, oh, I didn't turn on the fan, did I? This is going to be an exciting live all the way around. So let me put the fan on so you can see all the excitement of sauteed onions, because why would you miss out on that deliciousness? So for those of you who are just joining in now, we're making luck. We're making black-eyed peas, and I have some super lucky black-eyed peas from Rancho Gordo. Love Steve's beans and lots of other things about Rancho Gordo, but you don't need fancy black-eyed peas to make this. Here we go. All right, hi Apple, and Apple has black-eyed peas. Margaret, yeah, and Margaret says yes, please rinse my beans because they're usually really clean, but sometimes they've had some dirt, and these are the ones we're going to do. So while you're watching the onions saute, or actually, if you want, you can hang out and watch me rinse these beans. I'm just cutting off the top. Gonna get a strainer, pour them in, and give them a little rinse. It's just that easy. These are sometimes called cow peas. And they used to, in fact, be livestock feed, and they weren't really much thought of. Here we go. They're all rinsed and happy now. See, you guys can see, you can already smell their black-eyed pea goodness. So some people aren't huge fans. And what we're going to do is we're basically making this really easy. We're going to saute some aromatics. So we've got about half a medium onion, half a cup minced onion. You want more, use more. You want less, use less. If you're not feeling it, if you're kind of like, tonight or tomorrow when you're making these, use onion powder and garlic powder and skip the saute altogether. You could just throw those in with the beans and cook them. So you have still no excuses for not helping us all have a little extra luck this year. And Margaret's having hers from Rancho Gordo this year. Oh, yay, Happy New Year, everybody. It's so good to see everyone. Jackie. Deborah loves Rancho Gordo. Deborah Chan loves Rancho Gordo. Deborah Barr wishes us all a Happy New Year. So I'm just water sauteing these. So if you are oil-free, that's the way to do it. You could also just saute them dry and not use any water. As you can see, just how distracted I can be when I'm doing these videos and these lives. It's always best for me to water saute, because if not, things could get stuck. I might not pay attention the way I should. And so it depends on your personality. My friend Joanne, she doesn't use water, but she is definitely less ADD than I am in the kitchen. I guess that's the nice way to put it. Hey Joanne, and Joanne says my peas are all soaked and sitting in the refrigerator. She's going to cook them tomorrow. And these came out of the 4th quarter of Rancho Gordo. She wanted me to remind everyone. And with this recipe, you don't have to soak the black-eyed peas. However, if you've already soaked them, Joanne probably has her own recipe she's going to make. You can make them in a slow cooker. So wherever you're watching this, somewhere around here, are links to 2 recipes. One is on how to make them in the slow cooker, and one is exactly the recipe we're going to be making tonight. And that one's at plantbasedinstantpot.com. The other one is at healthyslowcooking.com. This time it makes sense. Next time it won't. But they will be delicious. And we're going to go ahead. I'd say these are pretty close ready for some garlic. I'm just going to go ahead and put in like a teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm cheating, and I have some that I think I got these at Wegmans, this Spice Select. And there is no oil or salt or anything. So even if you're on Chef AJ's or an SOS diet and you feel like you can't ever catch a break with the shortcuts, I give you your break for 2021 right there. And so that's kind of nice. So I'm going to let these go a little bit longer, and then I'm going to grab some of these guys and we'll put some smoked paprika in here. Now, for me, the way I grew up eating black-eyed peas is that they were cooked with like smoked ham hocks or something or other. It was smoky pig something. No pig has to suffer for our black-eyed peas to taste amazing. So what we're going to do to get our smoky flavor is we're going to do smoked paprika, and I'm going to use some liquid smoke. And someone on Facebook asked me, it might have been in a message, which is the purest liquid smoke that I have, and it is from Living Nutritionals. I'll let you guys see that a little bit closer. And it's I can't say that right now. It's appropriately named Pure Liquid Smoke. And I know you guys won't be able to see the little teeny tiny details. The ingredients: natural liquid smoke. Ta-da! There you go. So this is a really good one. I'm like down to here. So I'm about to order some more of it. I've really enjoyed it. I am not telling you can't use other brands, but if there's certain things that you're looking to avoid, some of them do have some added ingredients. There's only one that I've ever found that was really weird ingredients. Usually it's just caramel coloring. But if that's something you avoid, then there you go. You can still do this. And if you hate liquid smoke, you could just use smoked paprika. If you don't have any smoked paprika, you could just use liquid smoke. That's how life is. We want the new year to be easy and tasty. And if you hate smoky flavors, maybe just use some regular paprika. I'm not going to push that on you, even though I might want to just ever so slightly, because yummy. We Southerners like our smoky goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some of the smoked paprika in here. I'm going to measure it, but you know, do what you will. I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon in here. I'm lying to you. The recipe says half a teaspoon. I'm putting a whole teaspoon in there because 2021 can use a little help. Now, I don't really have any water in here, but what I'm doing is activating this spice with the heat. So if you were standing right next to me or across the counter sipping on, you know, some iced tea or something, you would smell this amazing flavor as soon as it hit the heat. And that's why we're doing it. We do that a lot with spices. And I did go ahead and turn off the heat for this. And I want to get a spatula. And we're going to have lots of time to talk once this starts cooking. So I'm not going to hurry you through everything. I'm going to put in 2 of my bouillon cubes. You can get that bouillon recipe at Plant-Based Instant Pot or Healthy Slow Cooking. And you can make it on your Instant Pot, in your oven, on your stove, in your slow cooker. And probably places that I've never even tried before. And we don't need this to melt all the way down. So once I make a big batch of it, I put it in ice cube trays. Once it's frozen, I pop them out into a resealable bag. And then they just wait until I'm ready to use them. Okay, and I'm using 1.5 cups of the beans. So I'm going to measure them out. Since I didn't say a whole pound, I want to make sure I'm not messing anything up. Yeah, so that's about 1/2 pound-ish. Get a little bit more in there. There we go. Okay, so 1.5 cups of dried black-eyed peas, 3 cups of water. I say 1 bouillon cube on there, but honestly, it's kind of up to you. And usually I say 1/4 teaspoon of liquid smoke, but I'm probably going closer to 1/2. So again, let your smoky goodness sensor be your own guide. Okay. And then maybe what I'll do is make the other half in the slow cooker and unveil those tomorrow. We could do a competition. So I'm going to sit this on here, and then I'm going to cook them on the pressure cooking setting, high, and we're going to cook them for 25 minutes. That's why I said we're going to have a lot of time together. And then, because this is the Duo Crisp air fryer, I have to press the start button. So one thing to look for, and I know I don't like to show you this because it just sparkles at the camera, is if you've got a little green circle around something, chances are good you have to touch it before it will start. And if you've got a new one for Christmas or Hanukkah or winter solstice, or personally, I would like to get presents for all the holidays, I'm good with that. So, but I have you guys for the holidays though, and that is awesome. Okay, so it's going to take a while for it to come up to pressure. It's going to take a while for us to let those cook. Now, in case you've got better places to be right now than hang out with me for a while, again, you can get this recipe at plantbasedinstantpot.com. If you go to the bottom, there's a little magnifying glass. If you click that and type in black-eyed peas with or without the hyphen, you will find these. So at the end, we're going to add like some nutritional yeast and salt and pepper. And if we want to add some more liquid smoke or smoked paprika, we could do that as well. If you felt like it wasn't oniony enough or garlicky enough for you, you could add some onion and garlic powder at the very end as well. So those are all things in our option palette that we could choose to do. Okay, now, oh, I love that. So I've missed a lot of your comments because I wanted to just get that going so you're not here until the new year rings in later on. Oh, and hi Nadine. Black-eyed peas is not something we're used to in Saskatchewan. Did I say it close? Saskatchewan. And I actually said it close the first time without reading what you wrote for me. However, I appreciate all of you spelling things out phonetically for me because, you know, I'm me. And Nadine ate them once when she was 16, when she was in Denver, and didn't like them. A lot of people don't like them. And hello, Amy Katz, I see you, and I'm glad you're here. Happy New Year. And here's the thing, they do have, like, you know how some beans are really creamy, and then other beans kind of are a little sandy? These can be a little sandy. So in the South, how we cook beans is we make them creamy. So you may notice, and if you follow Jill Newsonow, who I adore, the Veggie Queen, you will notice sometimes that our cooking times on beans are radically different. And this is why. Jill cooks her beans perfectly where they come out like a can of beans. I cook mine so they're creamy and they feel like they've been over a wood fire all day long, like when you went out to do your laundry in the bazillion years ago that you would have done that. So like red beans and rice, things like that, creamy home-style pinto beans. And I want this to be a little bit like that too. So I'm cooking longer than some other people might. And since beans are the variable, we won't know exactly what's happening till we open this up. I'll know more for batch 2. But it could always take a little more or a little less. A little more water, a little less water. So remember, you can always, if it's not done enough and there's some water still in there, you can put the lid back on, cook it for 5 more minutes. If it's too dry, you can add a little bit more water. If you feel like they're still not smushy enough, smash them with a spoon, the back of your spoon, or even a veggie masher. I've done that before too. I do that when I make my red beans with canned beans, and you guys can see that video. I think it's everywhere right now. Okay. And someone's going to find a video that doesn't hang from buffering. I'm sorry, it's pouring rain. It's pouring rain here. I'm plugged into the router. I haven't gotten any mixed messages, so things should be coming out good from my side right now. And Joanne says, my husband loves smoked paprika, so that's going in the New Year's peas tomorrow. Yay. And Apple says, I always sing, wake me up before you go when I'm sauteing my spices. I love that because, and asterisk, because I'm waking up the spices. I like that. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that such a tiny little effort from you can just yield such a huge flavor improvement, and it's kind of awesome. And Marilyn says she soaks her peas in 3 cups of water per cups of peas. Oh, now it says my stream's lowered, so we'll see what happens now. I shouldn't have jinxed that. Strains the peas into a bowl and adds the same amount of water back, I think. Cook half the amount of time required for it. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Black-eyed peas are kind of in the middle of the bean spectrum. So those of you who have the Great Vegan Bean Book, I kind of have long cooking beans, short cooking beans, and in between. And so yellow-eyed peas and black-eyed peas to me are in between. So you don't have to soak them for cook time. If your digestion is sensitive, you might want to go ahead and soak them anyhow. And exactly like Marilyn said, then you're probably going to cook it for about half the amount of time and you're going to use less water as well. So that's something to know. And Joanne is doing a stew with field roast sausage and kale. That sounds delicious. Oh, and I think that's probably Helene at the Plant-Based Network, I bet. Hi, Helene. I was just at her house picking up something. We got a treat. There's, oh, and I'm going to forget the name of, let me look this up really quick so I don't mangle it. I posted about it on Facebook. Plant Cakes Bake Shop is a new vegan bakery that opened up in Wake Forest, which is near Raleigh, kind of. So, and so she got an order of gluten-free vegan cinnamon rolls. So they will only do half a dozen. So we split them to be on better on better grounds with 2021, and and doing things in moderation. So I really appreciate Helene going out and picking those up and me having such a special treat. Ha! That's very satisfying to do. I know some people say don't do it, but I feel like honestly the beans are not going to be perfect or not perfect if we make that come up just a little bit sooner. Okay, and oh, Cynthia's never had black-eyed peas before. And depending on where you live, it's not common. Now that the world has gotten a little bit smaller, you can get them different places. An interesting place that you would not think of from me talking about all the things that I'm talking about southern U.S., you can find black-eyed peas at the Indian grocery. And to embarrass myself, when my friend Kalpana had a restaurant in Cary, North Carolina, I remember she had black-eyed peas, and I thought, oh, how cool, you're doing some fusion, you're like merging the Southern with the Indian, and she just looked at me like I was crazy, because no, they always had black-eyed peas. So that is, there's some really amazing Indian curried black-eyed peas to try as well. But if you're in somewhere like maybe Canada or somewhere not in the South, the Southeast U.S., you might be able to find your black-eyed peas there. And Apple is going to combine my black-eyed peas with some millet and tortilla spices for shepherdless pie. And I don't know if I said tortilla right, so apologies, but it sounds delicious. And Cynthia said, do I have a recipe for red beans and rice? I got a few. In the gluten-free vegan cookbook for your Instant Pot, I have one that you cook the rice and the beans at the same time in your Instant Pot. If you go to healthyslowcooking.com, I have a super quick red beans. You just steam your rice however you steam your rice. So you actually use cans of kidney beans or kidney beans that you've already cooked. You could use either one. And we're making them creamy with no oil or anything like that. So actually what we do is we mash up some of the beans. So we saute onions and garlic. You could do celery, bell peppers, and all that goodness. You put the beans in with some of the aquafaba, mash those around, put some Cajun seasonings. It's delicious. And it's ridiculously easy. So again, you can get that at healthyslowcooking.com. Just look up red beans, and that should come up for you. Okay, and so someone said it is on their end. I'm so sorry that it's on your end, and then mine said something like it was going to slow, but the internets these days are a little persnickety, if you haven't noticed. I think it's because we're all on. Like, the whole world is on the internet all day long, working and talking to their friends and all those things. And someone who is, and I'm sorry I'm not saying your name, you're on a Facebook group somewhere, probably mine, so hello and welcome, is from West Virginia, and we love black-eyed peas. They cook them with ham or bacon, which I hate. Found some pre-cooked refrigerated beans this year. Awesome. And thank you, Helene, Plant Cakes Bake Shop. And if you would like to, Helene, put in a link either to their website or to the Facebook page in the comments, that would be awesome, so that other people in the area might be able to kind of see. I don't know if they're shipping anything at this point for those of you not in the Triangle area, but it never hurts to ask. Sometimes I ask for things and I get them. I got some really yummy gluten-free vegan breads from Illinois recently, and we'll talk about those more soon for sure. And Deborah Chan said she's going to put hers over oat groats. And oat groats are awesome, and they're really easy to cook in the Instant Pot. In fact, there is, I think, I'm trying to see if I have it on here. I don't have it on this one, but there is like a grain setting. And if you go, you can cycle through. So it's like preset 1, preset 2, preset 3. And I think I go over those in both the books, both the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for your Instant Pot and Gluten-Free Vegan Cooking in your Instant Pot. Because I guess there's a weird setting on the chicken one, because whenever I put it there, the editors send it back to me over and over and over again. I'm like, I didn't make the setting, right? I also don't cook chicken, so I don't really care. But the third one on it actually kind of cooks it like at a low, like lets it sit in hot water. Is the way I think of it. So it's almost like it cuts down your soaking time on it, and then it cooks it for like 40 minutes. So it's a very long cycle. But you could put in the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for your Instant Pot, I cook whole spelt. It's good for whole spelt, wheat berries, oat groats. And you could even then on your Instant Pot have it set a delay so it doesn't start and it would finish up right when you got up in the morning, and you could have a delicious bowl of oat groats. I think that sounds pretty yummy. Aha! And Apple says the tourtière thing that I'm probably mispronouncing is a French-Canadian meat pie, which they veganize. I think, I'm sure I'd like it a lot. And maybe it may have something similar in New Orleans. I bet so. And I've seen pictures of those. But I have not tried it, a vegan version. And Joanne says, we use yellow-eyed beans for baked beans in Maine on Saturday nights. I love baked beans. And so, like, yeah, you can use yellow-eyed beans, you can use navy beans, you can use pintos. And as with all things, there's always some controversy, and someone thinks everybody else is wrong but them. So I always find that funny because, like, even in beans, it's mired in controversy. But I use whatever's in my cabinet. So I'm like that. And Deborah Chan says she cooks her oat groats for 5 minutes, lets them sit for 2 hours before cooking on a regular setting. So for any one thing you want to make, there's a million different ways you can do it. And the way that works best for you is the right way to do it. And I always say that. And Sensible Crime says hello and Happy New Year's to everyone. And Plant-Based Network did put down the Plant Cakes Bake Shop URL. So if you guys are interested. So she's saying there's no shipping right now. But if you're local, you can do online ordering. And we've done curbside pickup. They're doing some gluten-free stuff as well. So they do donuts and muffins and some other things. It is not whole food, plant-based, no oil, just so you know. So depending on what your dietary needs are, it may or may not match with those. But if you're looking for a treat or for a special occasion, we've been really happy with the things that we've gotten there. Joanne says Boston used navy beans, Maine used yellow-eyed peas, and I think down in the South it was pinto beans. And Sensible Crime says one YouTuber combines pinto beans and navy beans for baked beans. It says the navies get creamy and saucy while the pintos retain their form. That sounds really great too. I mean, I'm all for experimentation in these things. And it's in the gluten-free vegan cookbook for your Instant Pot. I have, let me see what I have a baked bean recipe too. I'm trying to remember what I used. But it's one of my favorite pictures. So I'll show you guys if I can find it. Yeah. It was a nicer picture when it was big because it has all this cool stuff, like my little pine cones from my front yard, you know. And I think in this one, I said to use dried cranberry beans, pinto beans, or navy beans, but you could, of course, use yellow-eyed peas too. With this, the sweetness is from apple and a little bit of maple syrup or brown sugar if you wanted to. So these are the two Instant Pot books that I have. And I don't think you can get both of them on Virtual Veg Fest, but I have 4 books right now on virtualvegfest.com. You can just go in there and search my name and they'll come up. And if you order them from there, I can sign them to you before Cheryl ships them off to you. So if that holiday money's burning a hole in your pocket, I got a place for you to spend it. And Cynthia says, how long would I cook soaked black beans for? Let's see. I don't think did I put charts in both books? I always have to check again, but I think I have a chart here. Yes. Black beans, did I put black beans in here? Soaked between 9 and 11 minutes, unsoaked from about 25 to 27 minutes. But yeah, I have cooking charts in the back of this one and with the bean section in the other one. And I have a grain cooking chart as well. But with beans, there's always some extra variables. And if your beans are older, it's going to take them much longer. It's just the way it's going to work. And Joanne says, tradition is a big factor in what you use for beans. Absolutely. I mean, I grew up on pinto beans were the beans we used. My friend Dawn, who's from New Orleans, grew up on red beans. Although white beans are also another thing in New Orleans, like creamy white beans that people don't see as much. Oh, absolutely, Cynthia. You're so welcome. And Joanne also says an earthenware bean pots cooked in the oven with maple syrup and pork fat back. Yeah. And again, no piggies need to be involved in our delicious beans. So like usually with the pork fat back, it's bringing flavor. At least where I'm from, they're smoked. So you bring in some smoke, you bring in some salt that way, and you bring in some oil. And those of us who are eating oil-free or choose to eat less oil, whatever you're doing, that's one of the reasons we're doing here. But you could put coconut oil in if you wanted to come closer to replicating that. That kind of, and salt and smoke and fat in there. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that except for if it's not in your dietary, okay chart. And Joanne said, I wouldn't go near that fat, but my father loved it. Yeah, no. It definitely is. It's a thing for people who grew up with it. And what's really interesting is that I would not eat beans as a child except for baked beans. So like the creamy pinto beans, I wanted nothing to do with them. No way, no how. And then at 18, I became a vegetarian. I was like, hey, can you make me some pinto beans, Mom, without the fat back? And she was like, no. So I had to learn how to cook quick. So that's also why I know if any of you guys watching are just not feeling super confident about cooking, that you totally can do this. I taught myself, I can help you. And then we'll all meet our goals together for 2021, which is what I want most of all. Ooh, and somebody has a clay bean pot from Mexico that makes great beans. And for baked, they like navy beans. And I just like baked beans, so I'm pretty much okay with all of them. And I keep kind of eyeing those bean pots over at Rancho Gordo. And I keep stopping because I'm like, we have those like an electric glass top range. I don't know if it'd work with that. I need to do more research before I plunk out that money, but they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. So while the beans are cooking, because they've still got a little while longer to go, I wanted to do a little quick unboxing. So there's a new, to me, produce and fruit place. It is more local to me. So this isn't going to apply to all of you, but what I want you to do is kind of like think inside this box of local. And remember, even though it's the winter, at least in North Carolina, the farmers have greenhouses and things like that. So sometimes you can get tomatoes and strawberries and weird things that are odd to me, but it's because they're doing things in the greenhouse. And Cheryl will probably post this link, and let me try this one more time too and see if I can get it to, did it post when I did it? Let's see. And then I'll show you a little bit. Here we go. This hopefully is going out to everyone, but I don't know. So if you guys see that, this is, and I'll show you. I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to show you this. This is their Facebook page. It's the Alexander Fruit Company. And I know you can sort of see me there. And then this is their website, Alexander Fruit. So it, again, is local to me, but you could probably find something else similar in your area. And this was the first time. So if you are, I know a lot of you who are watching are actually in the area too. So they do like Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Hillsborough, Pittsburgh. I can't remember if they do Wake Forest, but I think they do, and I think Helene would know. So, and I just put out, hopefully it put out, if not the link that I'm talking about, and I think it's first free is the code. And so I got this free because I just put it, I found, well actually Facebook found me, said, hello, wouldn't you like to try this? You can try it for free. And I was like, yeah. And so, oh, Mike and Joanne, you guys are so sweet. Oh, and Deborah said it posted. Okay, good. Oh, and Helene got her bag last week. So Helene has tried this too. Oh, Sensible Crime, you guys are so sweet to me. Thank you. Okay, so this is $35. It came double bagged in brown paper bags. I stopped the lady at the door because of the dog, we're always like, just put it out front. Slowly back away, no ringing the doorbell. So she didn't know if we were home. She was getting ready to take a plastic garbage bag to wrap it up in because it's been raining, which I thought was super awesome, and I was glad I caught her in time. So this is $35. I opted for the whole veggie bag, and this is a romaine that is bigger than my head. You know I like that. And then, this is the one thing I've definitely been waiting for, is this nice stack of collards. And I'll take it out of the bag just so you guys can see. I know some of you don't necessarily live where I think collards are more popular. So like, well, these are just gorgeous. And it is packed full. Like that is a solid stack of collards that I'm going to be cooking for tomorrow. And we can talk a little bit about how I'm going to cook those for tomorrow too before everything's said and done. A really nice bunch of cilantro. And you can pick your groceries now. I think they just started doing that. And this is a nice big thing of asparagus, which is kind of a bonus. So I just wanted it to be surprised. I knew I would get collards, and that's all I cared about. Look how pretty that is. And so this all seems like good stuff to start the new year with, right? And then a big, big thing of radishes and radish greens. And like these are so big. They're bigger than my eyeballs. So I think that counts for something. Let you guys see up close over here. Aren't those pretty? And look at these greens. So one of the things I also liked is that Ned, the owner, emailed about what was going to be in the box and some recipes, and was like, you know, you can use these greens, these radish greens, and you can saute them, or you could use them in salads. And the bite of the radishes kind of bother my stomach now. When I was younger, I used to eat them just raw. But what you can do, and what I probably will do with these, is just either roast them whole or quartered. And when you roast it, it mellows out that sharpness from the radishes. And it's delightful. It really is. So you could do some turnips, rutabagas, potatoes, carrots, and radishes. You don't have to get into the exotic root vegetables if you'd prefer not to, though I heartily encourage you to also try rutabaga. So I do have some tomatoes, which look very greenhouse tomatoes to me. I didn't ask, so I am kind of just making that up. Let me set these guys here. This is still a pretty good haul so far. I'm trying not to get too close to the hot Instant Pot and melt my bags. And I'm trying not to take all the bags out because then I'm just going to put everything in the bags back in the fridge. Okay, so I've got 5 tomatoes. Oh, 6 tomatoes and an onion. A nice big onion. A nice big yellow onion and a red onion. 3 so far big jalapenos. Those are going to be delightful because I'm thinking I need to make some hot sauce. And maybe we'll make some hot sauce together next week. And then I've got 4 avocados. And these are decent size. These are not the tiny avocados. Now I have tiny hands, so that gives you an idea. This is a medium large onion. So I feel good about that, actually. I feel quite good about that. And we've got one more thing in here. So one of the things I was a little worried about was that there was not going to be enough value for the money, but I really feel like there, I'm so excited. Because when I get these vegetables, these surprise vegetables right here in my Misfit, oftentimes I get 2 or 3. Can you guys see in there a little bit? Probably not. Tomatillos. I love tomatillos, and this and this and this with an onion makes salsa verde. So maybe we need, so this bag is filled up to here. It's pretty hefty. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these jalapenos and scooch the cilantro there for a minute. Let me sit over here. I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow. I know I'm officially off of Vlogmas tomorrow, but I think this is pretty good. I think that was a few pounds of tomatillos. This is a few pounds of tomatoes, 4 avocados. And aren't avocados on sale running $1.50 to $2 each? I would say if I went out and bought this would be 2 slabs of collards. And this is a really big head of romaine. I'm not sure what asparagus is going for right now. This is a product of Peru, so this is not from a farm. So maybe this isn't hot house from here. I don't know. So I don't want to mislead you guys. I'm going to put these back in here. But this is really pretty cool, actually. And it's a nice person that brought them to my house. So those of you that have had unhappy experiences with Misfit Market, being that it actually does go through, I think it's either FedEx or UPS usually. I don't think it goes through the US mail. We can thank goodness for small favors, right? And so in the summer, it's almost impossible for things to come to you in a perfect form because of that. But if you get something from your farmer or something from someone who's delivering it straight to your house, you're just not going to have those same issues. So especially for those of you that are doing that, are feeling that way or weren't really happy, because a good thing about supporting your local economy, A, B, then a lot of times you're supporting local farmers as well. And that's super helpful. So like CSA, and then I think what I'm going to do too, my friend Nancy McDermott, who I've told you about before, she's the cookbook author. She doesn't do vegan stuff, but she has a vegetarian Thai cookbook. And she pointed out that there is a black farmers market CSA right now. And when I went and looked, I noticed they had a vegan version, which is without eggs, and a regular version. So that's something else I'm going to want to try and have us unbox and see how that is as well. Margaret says Luna earrings for the radishes. So in case you didn't know, I was a big Harry Potter fan. And I love Luna. She's the best. But she does wear little radish earrings. Oh, good. And so the Alexander Fruit Company does deliver to Wake Forest. So if you guys are around here in this area, go ahead and take them up on the first one for free and see what you think. I tend to do that with a lot of different places. So there's like, I think it was Farm Direct or Farm Fresh that we tried. We unboxed that with a Misfit. That's on the YouTube channel if you want to see it. And the produce was beautiful, but I got like this much for $35. That's what the box was going to cost. And for Misfit, it was a huge month or huge week. So how much you get can be a deciding factor, how fresh it is, if you're okay with getting Misfits or not, if you're okay with the fact that it has to travel, so therefore sometimes your apples will be bruised, sometimes they won't. So I never think that any one thing that I decide is good is right for everyone. So know that. So, but this way you can kind of, you can dip your toe in it. Like you can try this, maybe try it for a couple of weeks, skip for a couple of weeks, try something else. Which one works best for you? And that's what's going to be most important. And if you don't have any winter CSAs, I would even go ahead and contact your farmer and see if they have anything, or if they don't have one, they may know another farmer who would maybe further away but would still deliver. So those are all things that you can look at. And Joanne says, with all the crap that's been going on, oh, that was about me. I thought you were going to talk about the produce. Thanks, guys. I'm not reading that out loud. Yeah, apple is it's very beautiful looking. Like to me, that looks like I went straight to the farmer's market and got stuff from people. And like there was a note too saying, hey, some of the bananas that you got last week were still a little green, but we've opened them and they are ready to eat. So I kind of like that there's this personal touch. There's this nice person telling you and put some recipes. They weren't necessarily recipes for us vegans, but you guys have me. So when you find a recipe like that, we can work it out together too. I know the radish greens are beautiful. I'm going to have to do something with those for sure. So, because I think I'm going to try and come on tomorrow. But if I do, it'll be last minute, and I think we're going to go to Howard's and Mia's in the afternoon. So what I'm thinking is it's a possibility that I might make something crazy with them, and if I do, I might pop on. If I do, it'll probably be last minute, because with using Restream, I have to either schedule it an hour before or just go on. So either way, you guys can watch the replay. Ooh, and Joanne said, I used to have a radish green soup from a CSA she belonged to. I haven't made it in years. So do you have that recipe, Miss Joanne, that you can send me? Because that sounds really, really nice. And kind of like a perfect way to start off the year. I kind of like the whole, even eat more greens than you were expecting to eat. That should be like extra money and extra luck. And just, maybe I can eat those for someone who can't get greens. Oh, and Joy said, you must be proud of your accomplishment with Vlogmas. I am. It is the last day of Vlogmas, and I'm both happy and sad. So I'm trying. I thought I would have everything planned out for 2021 for like the first 3 months by like yesterday, and that didn't really work out. But taking 4 days off was really good, so I am considering either in January going live during the week, Monday through Fridays, or at least 3 times a week. So you guys have been just showing up and really being there, and that means a lot to me. And I love engaging with you guys, and I love feeling our wonderful community and how it's just expanding and how inclusive it is. So some days, even though I might be cranky and I don't want to come do anything else, that once I come and hang out with you guys, I feel a little better. But there's definitely going to, at the very, very least, there will be weekly lives again. At the very least, for most of the year. I won't say for, part of me wants to try and be crazy and go live every day next year except for the weekends, because I do need I need a pajama time. But also, or I could just say post a video. So, because you guys really showed up too when I posted videos when I took my days off. So those were still videos that you hadn't seen. And I've got lots of class videos that are older, that are from like 2017, 2018, 2019, I think. And so what I did is I took some of those things out. And actually the fundraiser class I did for Zeus last year, the rescue puppy, that's what I did the gifts from. So we may still put up a couple more of those. So since those already exist and Cheryl is enjoying editing video, hopefully more will roll out. And you guys on YouTube have really shown up for me and I really appreciate it. So I definitely want to keep going live with you guys too. So that's important. Oh, yeah, it is a great haul, Deborah. It is. And Apple says it's the last day of Vlogmas, and thanks for keeping us company every day of December. You guys kept me company, silly. But it was awesome, and it's been really nice to kind of, I don't know, feel the good. It's been a hard year, and that's why I'm trying to make you eat black-eyed peas if you like them or not. You know, I feel like, let's just creep into 2021, do all the things we're supposed to do, you know. Let's just kind of relax into it, because, you know, it's not like tomorrow magically the pandemic goes away or magically all of our problems go away. And I was hearing somebody else on Facebook talk about it like it's a social construct, that tomorrow starts a whole new year. In a way it is, but it's also one of those times that we kind of can take a breath, reassess what we're doing. Does it serve us? Does it not serve us? You know, like what are you proud of from 2020? What do you want to make? What did you do new that you want to bring with you into 2021, right? And one of the things for me was to do more video. Like in the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing videos every day, and it was awesome. And I feel like it was very community building. And then I started teaching other people how to do live video. And so those are things I want to take with me, you know, but is there something you want to leave in 2020? Because now's an easy time to do that. And I think sometimes too, like when school season starts, it's just this other entrenched breath. Okay, something new is happening. And that just makes it a little easier to go, okay, I'm going to pivot. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about New Year's resolutions and things like that, because, you know, we want to do grandiose things like I want to give up sugar, caffeine, and tofu. I don't know, you know, just things that aren't always planned out step by step. Whereas sometimes I think that, you know, I want to start every day with greens, or I want to eat greens in a meal every single day. That's just, it's just easy. It's something that you do. It's not something that you're taking away. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have New Year's resolutions if they work for you, because you know that I believe what works for you is important to keep. But what I find is like in February and March, we get kind of like, oh, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Why can't I do this, that, or the other? That's how I felt yesterday, that I had not planned out my whole 3 months. I was like, oh, I'm a failure this week, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? We did a live. We hung out. I talked to my friends. Life goes on, so it's really important, and I'm speaking to me as well as you, and that don't really put so much pressure. Like, oh, I'm going to do this. Just think of something that you can do that's going to make you feel healthier or happier, that makes it easier to do the next day. So if you don't like greens and you eat greens in the morning and you feel like crap, you're probably not going to want to do it the next day. But if you eat them and you're like, ooh, I think I got a little burst of energy there, then it's going to be easier. And then you're going to figure out different ways to make them that you like them, right? So try and keep it in that space. Keep it in this positive space instead of this like berating. Because I am queen of berating myself, which is why I tell you guys so much not to do it. And you know how that is, because I know how horrible it is. I don't want you guys to experience that. Oh, awesome. Cynthia said, loves the live videos, and we could have a pajama day video. Ooh, that could be fun. But I have to, like, I need to get new fancy pajamas or something. That's the only thing. I feel like I end up wearing, like, a kitchen stained t-shirt and yoga pants. But I did wear proper Christmas pajamas, though they're just a little bit old. They're too old to be on video in. They're not too old for me to wear every single year for the next 10 years. And Stephanie says, she doesn't always comment but likes to follow along. Looking forward to trying your recipe for black-eyed peas. Awesome. And Joanne says, now I sound like Mom. Eat your beans. And here, I'll give you the teacher look. And if you can't have black-eyed peas, just get something close. And just tell me you ate black-eyed peas. So, oh, and Marilyn says she's cooking with me. And Joanne has Harry Potter PJs. Okay, that may mean that we need to do a Zoom pajama party. Because I think if I'm going to wear pajamas, I need to see everybody's pajamas. So that could be interesting. So let's open up some of these beans. And let me get my iPad to open back up. Yep, I was right. Okay. And I just wanted to show you this again in case you've got, let me move it over to the side a little bit. All right. So this Instant Pot is the Duo Crisp air fryer one, which is why it has this. That's for the air fryer lid. That's where it gets its electricity from. And it has this little button, which is away from this guy. And so you can, it shouldn't take too long, but I'm going to move it a little bit further. I also don't want to just let the steam all out on my camera lens. And so if I press it like that, it stays down on its own, and then I can do that before it gets too wet. Smells good. Smells like smoky yumminess. And Marilyn says, I'm cooking right along with you. Black-eyed peas with onions, bay leaves from my front yard. Yum. Thyme, parsley, and black pepper coming up to pressure now. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right. So this is what we're working with right now. Oh, perhaps you would like to see those in focus. Yay. See, they're nice and soft, and that's the way I want them. If you don't like yours this soft, you can cook them less time, okay? So, because the creamy part of these beans is that some of them are dissolving. Do you guys see that, how I'm stirring it, and we're making this thick gravy? It's the beans. Happy New Year, Jeremy. We are making, I can't remember if you just joined us, we're making black-eyed peas for the new year. And we unboxed some produce. But see, it took no effort. I didn't really need to use a masher. But some people are going to be like, that's too mushy for me. I don't like them that way. And all you have to do is cook them less time. So what we're also going to do is we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast in. And I know Jeremy can't have nutritional yeast. So you could also, and I was thinking about this earlier, is we could put a little tomato powder in there to get the umami. We could put some mushroom powder, or we could have actually chopped up some mushrooms and sauteed it when we did our onions and things like that. But see how, to me, adding that nutritional yeast just makes it a little more creamy. And if you do salt, now is the time to add salt and pepper. If you don't, and you feel like it still needs a little something, I'm just going to get some of this with a little bit of yummy bean part. I like the extra paprika I put in there. And honestly, so I've put no salt in there. And I think it's honestly really pretty good just as is. So if you do use salt, you're probably going to need to use half the amount of salt you normally use. Again, to make kind of this like base salt-free flavoring. Because like sometimes if you use Benson's Table Tasty or some other different blends, they're blended for like Mexican food or Italian food or different things, and we're not really wanting that. We could put some Creole something or other if you had like something like that would be delicious. However, what I would do is mix probably like a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and probably a teaspoon of ground celery seed together. And you could use that as your plain salt substitute. And that would be really good. And then, because while these would be delicious made with Cajun spices too, I can't deny that, I'm looking for that down-home, southerny kind of feel to it, which is a little bit plainer. So it's the aromatics, it's the onions and the garlic that are really bringing a lot of those flavor layers in here. And then we use smoked paprika and we use liquid smoke. And so the smoky stuff really brings the flavor as well. And another thing you could put in here, so when my mom used to eat her black-eyed peas or her pinto beans, is she would cut up fresh jalapeno and chop it up, and fresh like white onion to give those extra bites. So that's something else that you could serve on top that would be really pretty. And VA Cruz says it looks yummy. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you think it looks good. I think it looks good too. I think Mia and Howard will like it tomorrow when I bring them to their house. So yeah. And Joanne says they're really pretty and she likes black beans, creamy thick. Yeah, and mushroom powder would be really good. Even the mushroom seasoning that Trader Joe's has, it's like a mushroom umami. It has salt in it. So if you can't have salt, just be aware of that. Would be a really nice flavor upper. Because I have some shiitakes in the fridge and I was real tempted. But since I'm trying to make all of you eat black-eyed peas, I thought I better stick with the original recipe for now and then see how that goes. And they smell really, really, really good. Like, it's really hard, the idea that I'm not going to eat these right now. But we did grab a few things while we were out, so we will eat. It's just, I'm going to make, I'll probably take the greens. I will take some garlic, onion, saute it with a little bit probably of Bragg's or soy sauce, something like that. We could use a little bit of apple cider vinegar. You could also put in some citrus juice. Is everything okay?
Cynthia would like to know what you eat those with.
Cynthia. Oh, Cynthia, I'm so sorry. I missed your question. So Cheryl came upstairs, which is why you guys can probably hear the dog. It says, what do I eat them with or over? So I'm going to make some cornbread. And so I'm going to serve them over the cornbread is what I'm really going to do. So I'll make a whole food plant-based cornbread with no oil. You can do, like, there's a traditional way that you just use cornmeal and no flour at all. So there's some different ways you can go with your cornbread. You can, traditionally, Southern cornbread is a little bit on the sweeter side. So if you are doing no refined sugar, you could certainly use date puree or date sugar. We've been using date sugar a lot this month on the lives. So, so yeah, and then we'll have the greens on the side, and then I'm thinking of doing something with the radishes too. I was also thinking, because you know we made the barbecue seasoning yesterday, so I kept back just a wee bit. I gifted to Mia and Howard a bunch of that to use, and so I was thinking of maybe shredding sweet potato, boiling it, and then tossing it with that. So when you shred it or do noodles with it, it holds its shape. It doesn't just mush the way potatoes could mush. And then I'm going to put it in the oven and kind of make it look a little bit like barbecue is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to experiment with that tomorrow. Who knows? You might be a part of that. I might decide to go live and show that. I've never done exactly what I'm saying, but I have used shredded sweet potatoes to make sweet potato barbecue, and it's amazing. It's amazing how it works. Okay, and sorry, Cynthia, that I missed that. And Joanne said she made a jar of your salt replacement, onion and garlic with celery powder. Oh, and so tell me, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it works well that way? Did you end up adding anything additional into it? Because I do, and actually it's in the gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot. I've got like one of those flavorful salt blends. So, yeah, so it's got like nutritional yeast and parsley and tomato powder and garlic, lemon peel, onion powder, celery seed, paprika, dried basil, dried thyme, marjoram, and mustard powder. And it does make for a delicious spice on its own, especially on something like maybe potatoes or potato soup or something like that. But you just have to be real careful it doesn't clash with, like, I don't know that I'd want to put that in Thai food. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, and Cynthia loves sweet cornbread. Oh, yeah, and that's true too. I have sloppy black-eyed peas as another recipe, and it is on healthyslowcooking.com. So if you look up black-eyed peas, I think that comes up too. And that's from the, I can't remember if it's from the Great Vegan Bean Book or Vegan Slow Cooking for Two. But it's real easy too. So if you have a can of black-eyed peas, it just mixes some stuff up and you can eat it over buns. But I've made these actually, and if you look at the slow cooker version, if you're on healthyslowcooking.com and you look up, it'll say blah, 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 vegan Halloween black-eyed peas, because I made this a bazillion years ago and I served over grit cakes. So those of you people who know what grits are and can get them, it's like polenta. So it's usually white polenta, though grits come in white or yellow. So does polenta. It's just the same stuff, pretty much. And if you cook that and then you put it like maybe in a brownie pan after you make it, you can cut out squares and either like air fry them, put them, I say pan fry, but I'm not putting any oil in them, just to kind of give them a little bit of crispy outside. And so I cut ghosts out of them. And I put those as one of my holiday meals, and that. So I did the black-eyed peas on the bottom and a ghost grit cake on top. But I've also done these black-eyed peas on the bottom and like cornbread skulls on top for Halloween. Okay, awesome. And let's see. And Linda says, I have some black-eyed peas soaking. What cooking time and amount of liquid would you recommend if the beans are soaked? I would say half, maybe try 15 minutes. You could even try 12 or 10 minutes. Open it up, just be ready to go again. You're not going to need the whole 3 cups of water, but you could try it with half the amount. If it looks like they're really soaked everything up, you could try 1.5. If I were in your shoes, I would probably go ahead and start with 2 cups. And then, like how I didn't need to cook any of the water out of these, and see how the beans have melted down to make that gravy. So it was thinner, remember, before I started stirring. And so if it's not thick like this, it's thin, and your beans aren't quite done, just put the lid on it and do another 3 to 5 minutes. That's what I would do. If there's still too much liquid, just if you're in your Instant Pot, you have to go to stop, cancel or stop, to go between settings. So like when we saute, we have to cancel stop, then go to pressure cooker, right? So we'll have to do the same thing. So we'd stop it, we'd start it, and we'd do the pressure cook again. So that's how I would approach it. And I hope that helps. And Joanne said she didn't add anything extra. She just can grab the bottle when she needs it. Okay, great. Oh, and it does. Okay. Joanne's saying the recipe I just told you used canned beans, uses dry black-eyed peas. But you could also make them. Just sometimes it's hard to find canned black-eyed peas. I think that happens more in the South than it does some other places. So, and you could cook them any way you wanted to. You can cook them like this. You can cook them in a slow cooker too. And again, if you have an Instant Pot, absolutely use it. What I would not do, so when I highly recommend that when you use beans and you want to slow cook them, that you slow cook them in a real slow cooker and not on the slow cooking setting in your Instant Pot. I haven't tried the absolute latest models with it yet, but the slow cooker settings were really off. I heard Milthy was doing better with them, but honestly, if you have a pressure cooker setting, it makes more sense to do your dry beans on it. So, but I still pull out my slow cookers because it's nice sometimes just to put stuff in the morning and then to go about on my merry way and not have to think about anything, and then dinner's magically ready. Okay, and so please remind me where the Instant Pot recipe can be found. So 2 places. Oh, no. I keep thinking the black-eyed pea recipe is in here, and it's not. The black-eyed pea recipe can be found at plantbasedinstantpot.com, and you can just search for black-eyed peas. That's the easiest way. Also, somewhere around in here with all the hoo-ha, I have a link to both that recipe and the recipe on healthy slow cooking directly. So if you're on YouTube, you have to click the little arrow. Facebook is being really funny when it shows things. I don't think it shows it when I'm live, but it'll show it on the replay. So if you give it 5 or 10 minutes, if you're having trouble finding it, or come back here and tag me at Kathy Hester, and I'll see it and I'll drop it in again. And Jeremy says, do I have a favorite kitchen tool pots pan video? I don't, I did a couple of Instant Pot accessories. I'm getting ready to, later next year, after tomorrow, I'm going to be posting a how to pick out an Instant Pot video, because are you guys on my email list? Because if you are, then you got the link to this recipe in your email, along with some other things that I was suggesting you make tomorrow. And I was also talking about a free plant-based summit that's happening in a couple of weeks. And I'm doing 3 sessions, I think. So I'm doing one on how to pick out an Instant Pot. We're making a recipe, and we're making a recipe in the air fryer. So that's something that you can catch for free. If you go to, I have things spread around. So I have an Instant Pot page on Plant-Based Instant Pot. Up near the top, it'll be like, and I talk about my favorite Instant Pots and accessories that you can use while you're cooking in the Instant Pot. And I've got a similar thing with slow cookers, but I don't know that on the blogs I have it. I have it on my Amazon influencer page. I have some things like that. But I tell you what, Jeremy, I will see what I can do over the weekend, and I will make something like that if I can. Because it would be good. Like with the pots and pans that I have right now, there aren't many that I feel super strong about. I do like Le Creuset, and I usually get mine at the thrift store. So instead of paying $200 for a pan, I'm paying $20 for a pan, which is pretty awesome. And if there's a chip on there, I'm good with it. The Milthy stainless steel pan is really pretty good. So if you're looking for something that has no kind of nonstick coating, that's one that I've been pretty happy with. And I did an unboxing of that 2 years ago, I think it was. So it's around somewhere too. And if you're thinking, Jeremy, if you have some specific questions or you're looking for some specific advice, like if you're like, I wish I had a saute pan, or I want one of those fancy pans that you steam asparagus in, which I doubt you do, but if there's certain things like that versus, or what pans do better oil-free, if you can be more specific, then I can make sure I'm tailoring my research to really give you the information you want. Okay, guys, so I'm about ready for 2021. I got my black-eyed peas, which we'll look at one last time because they're so see how as they kind of thicken up. So even though this is all warm and we're not really boiling them or sauteing them again, they're still thickening up nicely. And to me, this is exactly where I want them to be when I'm serving them. Exactly like that. So you're going to eat some black-eyed peas for me, or at least eat some greens. Are we all in this together? Please? I would like 2021 to magically be perfect, but it's not going to be. But I'm okay with it just being better and us being better members of communities. If that could be my one wish for 2021, is that we all just really, we look after ourselves, but we also look after those around us a little bit more. That would, to me, be a huge improvement over 2020. And Happy New Year to you, Apple, and Linda, and Joanne. And Joanne also says, yes, Mom. I don't ask for many things, do I? How's that for a mom voice? No, I totally have the mom teacher thing going on. But I want you guys to have a wonderful, wonderful night. Be careful, be safe, stay in. If you have to go out driving, be very careful because people will still be going out. That's another mom thing, I know. But I'm probably going to be asleep by midnight and in my jammies about 10 minutes after I get off the video with you guys. But it's been brilliant hanging out with you all through December, and I appreciate all of you so very much. And Margaret says she has her kale ready to eat and her beans, and she's thinking of some cornbread, as people do, right? So, and you could add other things in here too. Like you could roast kabocha squash. You could steam a bunch of vegetables. You could serve this over a potato if you wanted to. There are no rules. It's New Year's Day. Well, there's no rules but my rules, which say you have to eat black-eyed peas and greens. Other than that, you're safe. Okay, I'll pop on some unknown time tomorrow and wish you guys a happy 2021. But until then, big hugs, and I will see you soon. And I'll be thinking of you guys having an amazing 2021.